Jasmine, y'all got the start you wanted in the first quarter. It looked like Mississippi State sort of ratcheted up their defense. Just what kind of got loose for you guys in the second quarter?
I feel like we really didn't execute this plan in the second quarter, and it came back to bite us. So.
Steve and John.
For Jasmine, the turnovers has been kind of a nagging problem these last 5-6 games. What's caused that, do you think? Why have y'all been a little more turnover prone lately? Is it just the level of the schedule getting tougher, or what do you think's caused it?
I feel like our turnovers really don't have anything to do with our schedule. It's all on us. Just mental breakdowns, mental mistakes, meeting passes. That's really it. We can control our turnovers. It's just up to us to value the basketball more.
John.
For both players, Mississippi State has unusual size. They bring in 2'6" players and 6'6" players. What kind of effect does that have on you in the course of a game?
As far as an effect, I mean, we practice against TK every day, so we're used to having to finish over taller players. I'm not going to say that it's easy because their presence is definitely known, but we just got to finish overall, regardless of their height.
Jazz, how much more difficult was it running that offense without Rennia out there?
We knew we had to step up in different areas. I feel like everybody can play, so it would have been difficult all around, regardless if she would have played or not. So I wouldn't just say it was more difficult because she wasn't out there. I just feel like we all had to take a step up on offense. So.
Questions for you?
Lou, I know y'all are going into a week off, and I think this team is it's a well-timed week off. I know it's hard to go in after a loss, though. What do you guys use this next week to work on besides, maybe heal up a little bit?
Yeah, I think this is a really important week for us going to the back end of the regular season. We just really need to tighten up on a lot of things and get really, use this as a good time. We're a bit tired, but these are good practices that we need to lock in, focus, and get better and work on the attention to detail type of things. That is where it's kind of what's been hurting us these last couple of games, just turnovers and things like that. So I think it's a really good week for us to, we're a bit tired, maybe a bit beat up, but, that's no excuse. The SEC teaches you to play in those circumstances, to perform, and that's what the best teams do. So we need to step up to that and use this week to get better.
Any other questions for the players? All right, we'll let them slide out. Thank you, ladies. Coach Harper, make a statement first, then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, well, obviously Mississippi State is a really talented basketball team. We knew we had a big challenge ahead of us tonight. We had a game plan that I think our players believed in, and we were able to execute it for part of the game. Obviously, I thought the first quarter was pretty well executed, took care of the basketball. We just weren't able to maintain that focus with the level of execution. I'm saying that on both ends of the court. We had some defensive breakdowns that, you can't have against that team. With this game, I felt like this game going in, we were going to have to hold them, in the 60s. I felt like we were going to have to be closer to 60 than 70 and to give ourselves a chance. And obviously, we just weren't able to do that. Also going into this game, I knew scoring was going to be a premium with Rennia. So without Rennia, it definitely changed how our attack was going to look. But our players, they played with some confidence, and they had a couple good practices leading up to without Rennia. But like I said, we just weren't able to maintain the level of execution that we needed to win the game.
John.
Kelly, Mississippi State once had no tradition in women's basketball. Vic Schaefer came in his second year, turned it around. Now it's a powerhouse program. What does that kind of transformation say about the sport, do you think?
Well, I think, his blueprint was defense first and toughness, and he had some recruits early on that bought into that, and he was able to make a pretty good run pretty quickly. But I think, again, you know, there's a lot of parity. There are a lot of good teams now. It's not just 2 or 3 teams that can win late in tournament play. There's a lot of good teams, and there's a lot of great coaches out there. There's more talented players now.
Steve?
Just wondering, at what point did you realize Rennia wasn't going to be available tonight? And is this probably a one-game deal, or?
Well, we've been tracking it for a couple days. She wasn't even allowed to come to the gym last couple days, so this morning we allowed. We had the doctor visit with her, and he just couldn't release her. You know, she's gotten better, but he just couldn't release her to play. And you know, I understand that. I think it would have been really difficult. She wanted to play. Obviously, you know, a competitor wants to, but I think, you know, that's putting her in a really tough position after coming off pretty good sickness for a couple days.
Lewis in the back.
Coach, how did you think Ray performed stepping into the starting lineup in this one?
Well, I thought Ray played hard, and Ray gave us Ray. I mean, you know, she had a really good practice leading up to the game, and you know, she played with some confidence and played downhill. You know, she played hard. I mean, she was going in there for boards. Obviously, gets her a double-double because of her effort. She got in there a few times and didn't get the rebound, but she was playing hard, and so liked her energy. You know, and hopefully she can. Hopefully she'll come out of this with some confidence. I think you know, it's tough. Our team, we want to win. You know, but hopefully we can build on some positives and correct some negatives.
Gene and then Dan.
Kelly, sometimes it appears as though you have some turnovers that are a result of just maybe overpassing and maybe passing when you probably had an open shot opportunity. Is there a fix to that, or is it just maybe the personnel just may not feel comfortable shooting the ball?
Well, we've talked to our team about shooting. We're very unselfish and sometimes to a fault, and we've talked about that. And you know, I think that those turnovers are decision-making turnovers. So we have decision-making turnovers that we've got an issue with, and we've got some execution turnovers where we're not getting the ball where it's supposed to go when we do pass it. So you know, we've got to clean up both areas, and you know, we're trying to help them with both. You know, we're trying to work on both in practice, and you know, with making better passes and making better decisions.
On the same subject, Kelly, how much do you feel like State's defense was a factor tonight with some of those turnovers?
Well, I think a lot of times we come out of games and we're looking at that stat sheet, and the majority of those turnovers are ours, and it's probably the same this game. However, we do have to give them a lot of credit with their defense. That's what they do, and sometimes it's they just wear on you so long that you're bound to make a turnover. You know, I think sometimes it's not necessarily them getting a tip, but just wearing you down. Our guards had to play heavy minutes tonight, and that's not an easy thing to do when you're getting that kind of pressure for 40 minutes. But that's what we have to do. It is. And so you have to give them a lot of credit.
John, Maria, and then Ben.
Kelly, when you're out recruiting now, is it a balancing act to sell the program's tradition as compared to also selling what's really a new program with you and your staff?
Yeah, I think we have an advantage. We have great tradition. We're not trying to start something new. We have tradition, unlike any other program in the country. But also, I think there's an excitement about what we're doing. And I think I hope our prospective student athletes can see that. I think they feel it. Our players feel it, you know. So I think there's, I think it's a great time because we get to build on both.
Kelly, same thing I was asking Lou. the week off is probably needed right now for everybody. I know you do not want to go in with a loss. I mean, knowing you as a head coach and as a player, but what do you focus on this week? What's your primary agenda for the week?
Well, I think this week has to be a great balance of let's work on us. Let's make sure that our legs are back under us. Let's make sure that we are healed, we're healthy, and moving forward. And then also, is there something out there that we need in our package that's not in yet? And so I think it's a combination of three things really. Right now, the fundamentals, passing and catching, boxing out, little things, we'll still work on those. Those will be worked on probably forever and ever and ever. But we'll also really evaluate what do we need moving forward, because this is really our last opportunity to get some of those extra practices in and some extra downtime. So it's a really important week. It could be incredibly valuable for us if we are able to both rest and get something out of these practices and get better.
What did you see from Tamari and Jordan tonight? It seemed like they were frustrated and maybe gassed at times.
I think definitely for Jordan in particular, I think she had to play heavy minutes, and not just play heavy minutes, but we asked her to do a lot in those minutes when she was out there. She couldn't just run up and down the court. And then I think Tamari, the same thing. I think she didn't play as much in the first half, obviously due to foul trouble. But in that second half, I think, just having to stay focused and be intense and be physical every single possession is taxing, period. And, that's where we're asking them to go. They're young. They're going to get there. They're going to figure that out. But, Tamari, we're having a hard time getting her the basketball at times. And a lot of that's physicality, but tonight it's also the pressure on the perimeter.
Will and Lewis.
When Mississippi State started to build that big lead in the third quarter, was that a result of the loss of focus that you mentioned, or did Mississippi State kind of change some stuff at halftime that gave you guys a lot of trouble?
No, I don't. I have to go back and look. I don't feel like they changed a lot. I felt like their execution was really good. I have to go back and look now. They got some easy buckets that helped them. We just didn't shoot the ball well in that quarter. You can look statistically, whether that was missing some easy shots or having to take some hard shots. So we'll go back and evaluate that.
Coach, you only had 7 assists in this game. I think there was 1 assist in the first half, 8 assists against South Carolina. The team averages 17. Is that because of kind of the fundamentals and things you've already talked about, or is there a different reason for that?
Well, I think we've had to play differently the last couple of games because of our turnovers, one, and because of the defense. So, we're not able to move the ball as freely as we did maybe in November and December these last couple of games.
Kelly, you mentioned there are more talented players now. Do you think the recruits now are maybe more knowledgeable and more interested in finding out what a program is all about, what your team is like, or is there any difference really from now and before?
I don't know that I see a difference there. I think there are prospective student athletes that are very diligent about finding the right fit. And I think there are some out there that are just making decisions based on names. So I think, for us, the fit is a big deal. Players feeling very comfortable here, but I think that's going to be really important.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all for coming.